It's been a very eventful night. Still no fish to show though. Now in life, there are two types of people apparently. There's optimists and there's pessimists. But I feel there's a third, and I call it philosophist. And I put myself into that category. Now if you passed an optimist the glass and had water halfway down the glass, they would say the glass is half full. Positive thought. And if you passed it to a pessimistic person, they'd say the glass was half empty. Negative thought. Me being a philosophist, I'd look at it and say the glass is too big. Why this is important, it sums up what's happened over the past couple of days. Sometimes you're just not destined to catch a fish. Let me tell you what happened last night. So, as I said to you in the final clip, we got the rods out, got them in perfect position, each within 12 inches away from the reeds, spread around the lake. I could have put them better with my hand if I'd have tried. And then we got into our beds, watched a bit of Netflix, and then fell asleep. Around 1:30, my receiver started off like a madman. It was vibrating so much. So I jumped up out of my sleeping bag, looked out of the bigger window, and looked down upon the rod pod. The tips were in the water, and the family of swans were sat directly on top of my rods. All 7 cygnets, the female swan, and the big daddy swan who I caught earlier. You know, he took me around the lake once already. Now he sat on my lines. I've christened him Mr. D-Head. As soon as I got out of the bivvy, he shot off, well and truly, Mr. D-Head. Got all the lines with his flap. He swam to the right, took all the lines out, the rod pole went over, the rods went over. I looked, he picked my third rod up, it was off, the rod was off across the peg. I chased after it, I grabbed hold of the rod, I let go of the bail arm so he could take some line. That's when I lost my footing and slipped down the bank and ended up in the lake. So then the swan went straight through the lily pads, put the line in the lily pads. It removed my rig from the edge and put that in some more lily pads. And then luckily the swan broke free. Now as I stood there, I summed up what had just happened and I looked at the damage. My rig was in a lily pad about 70 metres away. Then the line was in another lily pad about 30 metres away. Then between that lily pad and my rod, there was the biggest bird's nest in my reel. I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, if I'd have tried to undo that, like unlocking the secrets of the universe. And then I looked down and I'm testicle deep in water. I felt like crying. But I didn't. I got back out of the water, snipped the line. I put the rod against the bivvy and I thought, that's not going back out tonight. And I got back in my bed. 60 seconds later, I thought, what can I do? Got an idea. So I got back out of the bivvy. I tripped over the bivvy door and face planted right on the floor. It's not great. And then what I did is I got both landing nets and put them either side of the now ruined rod pod. I'll just show you what's left of it. I've actually nearly set it back up today. Can you see that there? It's all skew-whiffed. Yeah. So I put both landing nets next to the rod pod just to deter the swans coming back, which to be fair did work. Anyway, I got back in my pit. And then it was 4:10. I checked on the phone. 4:10, the receiver went again. Beep, 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 beep. Well, it was a vibrate, not a beep. I looked out the window, there's no swans. We had a fish on. So I went to get out of the sleeping bag, and the crash zips were stuck. So now I'm stuck in my sleeping bag. I tried to get out, my bed chair's against the bivvy side where my head is, so I've got about a foot gap to try and wriggle out of. Couldn't get out. I thought there's only one thing to do here, so I stretched into like a fetal position, pushed my knees out and bust the zip so I could get out the side of the bag. Anyway, I stumbled out the bivvy, went to the rod, picked the rod up, the rig had moved 20 foot, and the fish had come off. It was at that point when I nearly picked the rods up and the pod and threw them in the lake. But I stopped myself, and I thought, that glass is too big.